Okay, looks like we are ready to go live. So this morning we are going to start out with ConvertKit templates. So if you haven't had a chance yet, if you scroll down to the bottom of the webinar page, you're going to see a bunch of code that you can just copy and paste and place in ConvertKit. I'm going to show you pretty soon how to do that, but I'm just going to wait for a couple of people who might just be coming in. If you did this in advance, just chill out. You'll have a little bit of time. For those of you coming in just a little bit late, like I said, grab the code down below. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we are just going to start coding along with each other. So like I said, this is the code at the bottom of the webinar screen. You're going to go into ConvertKit, and you are going to go over into account. And then if you go to email template, this is where you can create a new template. You'll go ahead and say create new template. You're going to want to make a template name, and then you're going to want to copy and paste all of this code, and then bring it over and put it right here. And while you guys are doing this, let me just say, I want you to have some colors picked out, because we're going to be picking out buttons and things like that. So we could do a color palette generator. That should be pretty useful. So for those of you that don't have brand colors and you're just following along, the color scheme generator is pretty fun. All you do is you just go in here and you just hit your space bar until you find a gorgeous color combination that you think you'd like to go with. This is not too bad. If you like certain colors, you can lock them down, and then there we go, kind of like Neapolitan ice cream. That's a nice color. And then what it's going to do also is I'll give you the color codes that you'll need later on when we are building out this template. All right, let me just pop into the chat. Okay, great. No one has any questions yet. So let's get started with ConvertKit. I already threw that code into a template already, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. So go ahead and get your template ready. You should already have all of the code that's done there is now in your template. So I'm just going to give you a quick crash course. So for those of you who haven't taken my web design crash course or creative bloggers, or who are very new to HTML and CSS, I'm just going to give the world's briefest rundown on what it is. HTML, think of this as like a house. So it's the foundation, it's the walls, and it's the roof. It's all the structural elements of the house. And it matters greatly what order it is in. So I'll scroll down to where the HTML starts. This, where you see brackets, those, not brackets, the greater and lesser signs. This is all HTML. It is very important what order you put all of the HTML in. Now CSS is more like the remodeling and decoration side of home building. CSS lets you say what color you want to paint a wall, if you want wood floors or carpet. It does all the decoration. And CSS, for the most part, doesn't care what order you write stuff in. You can put as much, and a lot of them, CSS will have the brackets, and a lot of them will have periods before them. That's how they start off a div. It doesn't care if you talk about the menu last or the footer first. It'll all figure out where it's supposed to go. But HTML does care where it's supposed to go. And so it has to go in a specific order. So for example, you wouldn't put the roof on a house first, build it up, and then try and pour the foundation. You have the foundation first, and then you build in the walls, and then you have a roof, all of that stuff. So that's just a quick rundown. And remember, if there's greater or less than signs, you're in the HTML. And if you have these brackets, you're in CSS. Okay, let's get started. I gave you a lot of code already because I'm not expecting all of you to know how to write this from scratch. But I left some blanks in here on purpose so that you can learn to write a little bit of CSS. You can follow along as I fill it in, and also so that you can have a little fun and it's easy to customize. If you ever want to see what your work looks like right now, you can always go to Preview Layout, and it's going to show what it's going to look like. Now let me just quick double check that. You guys can see those pop-ups. There we go. Let me go ahead and share my entire screen so that you guys can see when these pop up. So this is what it looks like right now. It's not really that pretty. We have a little bit of work to do. What I have already done for you is created a shell around the email. That's what is this right here. This is called a container. That's going to create your background. It's nice to have a little bit of padding along the side of emails. And so this creates that padding. So when you're looking at this, all of this right here, that is the outside container. If you want to change the color of it, you go right here. You're going to be changing the background color. I recommend this color. It's not a glaring white, and it's not a gray. This is a very calm white color, but if you'd rather turn it into something like what ConvertKit has here, or if you want to have an image or a pattern, that's where you'll replace it. I talked about background images and patterns in my previous code along. I'll tell you a little later where you can find that. Inner is going inside the container, and we're saying, okay, when everyone's reading our text, we want it to be white. So this is all of the white here. Now, if you have specific fonts, this is where you can add them. See right here, you'll just delete this out, and you can put fonts in here. So let's go over to Google Fonts, and let's pick Open Sans. That's a good one. So let's swap that out. Yeah, sounds good to me. We'll have Roboto as the body text, and we'll have Open Sans as the paragraph text. So you can find what you want. You can add them in. Once you get here, it's going to say, hey, these are the two types of font families you've picked. It'll say embed font. You're going to pick standard, and you're just going to copy and paste this. This is a little bit fast for you. I have a whole long tutorial about how to add Google Fonts to your website, and it's the exact same thing as adding Google Fonts to email, in the sense of copy and pasting this and putting in your header, and then this is how you tell the email where you want these fonts. For the most part, all emails will be able to use these. I'm gonna put this in here. So it's gonna have all of these fonts in your inbox. Very rarely, and this usually happens with Outlook 2013 or older, sometimes they'll override these fonts and then pick something super generic like a sans serif or something like that. But for the most part, if you're using Google Fonts, what it looks like in your preview is what it's going to look like in people's inboxes. Okay, so we said open sans for the header, roboto for the paragraph. So I'm going to go down here and copy this. This goes in the CSS, and this is going to be applied to headers. So I'm going to scroll down and see if I have any H1 styles. So let's go ahead and create that. So I'm going to go, let's do it, although it doesn't matter, let's do it right here. So I'm going to say H1 and H2. I want all of those to have open sans as their font. And I want all of my paragraph font to be roboto. So let me go back over here, delete this. These are comments. When you have the backslash and the asterisks, the computer knows to skip it, knows that it's not code, so I can always write in comments for you. In this case where it says add your font styles here, you can delete that and put that in. Now, if you're particular about sizes, like I am, want to make sure it's very legible, I'm going, well, first let's do this. Font size, 16px. 16 is a pretty good size. It's not too big, it's not too small. Honestly, 12-point font is too small if you want to have people be reading your emails. You're going to want to have it be 14 or larger. 14 and 16 is a great place to do that. I'm not worried about H1 and H2, or header 1 and header 2, changing their sizes, because ConvertKit will have its own style saying how big those will be, so that'll adjust for it. Let me go. Ta-da! So now we have roboto showing up here, and we say it's size 16. That looks pretty legible. It's a lot easier to read, and it really stands out. If you don't like how dark the text is, you can always say to add in a color. And this is where you're going to need these hex codes from. So let's say I don't want a black, but I want a pretty dark color. I'm going to pick this more of a slate color. Go over here. Make sure you put the pound sign in front of it. Okay, that doesn't stick out as much as black and in your face with such a bold color on white. And if you want a different color, you can go ahead and do that too, but we are just going to stick with these colors for now. You're not going to be able to see what your headers look like or links, because in the preview, it's only going to show you a few things. If you want to see in totality what your template looks like, you are going to have to save out of it and then go and create an email so you can see what things look like. All right, let's go back here. This right here, A stands for links. So you can decide what color you want the links to be. Text decoration none means you don't want it to be underlined. If you want it to be underlined, you can just delete this whole section and then it'll underline your links just like it would anywhere else. If you don't, like if you're worried about the color not being enough to make it stand out, you can increase the font weight. That's the same thing as saying making it appear bold. A normal font weight is around 300, 400. 6, 7, and 800 are very heavy font weights. I find 600 to be heavy enough for it to appear bold. So let's go ahead and pick a color for our links. I'm going to have it be this nice hot pink color here. We're going to say all of our links are going to be hot pink. It's going to be this color. If you notice, these are already links that I have in here that is also in your template. If you notice, they've changed colors. So go ahead and pick a color that works best for you. And that is what they're going to appear as. Same thing as if you had a link in your text, it's going to change that color as well. Okay, great. Just want to make sure no one else had questions. Right here, I do have a quick note about image fixes. I do find that CK has an issue with image sizing in responsive emails. So this is in here. You have max width 100%, height auto. This is a fix that will make sure all of your images size correctly. This is me adding some padding around the top. Ta-da, right up here. And then this is the menu. This is what we're really going to be working on. I've already figured out all of this for you so that you can just play with it and make it yours. So I said, okay, leave some space. Oops. And make the text align center. If you want to change how thick this border is, or if you want to get rid of the borders, you can delete them out. Or see where it says 1px in solid, you can change that to 2 or 3. It'll make a thicker border. Padding, I wanted some space around everything, and I wanted some space on the bottom. See where it says the A right here? That's again me talking about links. I said that in my menu, I don't want the links to be bold. If you want the links to be bold in your menu, you can just delete this whole section right here. This is what gets this nice spacing. The Lee right here gets this nice spacing. You don't have to change too much right here. This tells me what color should be behind here. It probably should be white. And I made this a slightly smaller font size. I made it 14 because it's the menu bar and I need to fit more words. Now, if you want to change anything in there, let's scroll down to the HTML section. HTML starts as soon as it says end of styles. This is the container, that's the outside. This is what makes everything white on the inside. This is your top. You can put your, if you have a header image, this is where you would paste that code. Or if you don't have a header image, you could say, you could put your own text there, and then it would become your header. Now, this is where your menu is. This is where you're going to be swapping out links. So if you see, this is a link to my website. So just right here in this section, swap it out with a link to somewhere on your website, and then change the title. Same thing again, swap out links, and change the title. If you want to have more than 3 or less than 3, it's pretty easy. You delete or you add. You can copy and paste and add as many as you want. Now, mind you, the more you have, the less space you have. Emails are only so wide. So if you have really long words like Blog Design Academy, you might want to try and stick with 3. But if you have short words like about, view projects, something like that, you can probably fit them in a little bit better. Ta-da. But this is the way that you can create a menu. Now, these won't be drop-down menus like websites, but we're creating a fake menu in your email template so that you can have another call to action to your services, your blog, your about page. So pick what you want to have up here and add it in. If you see, it says hello world. In my previous code along, I showed you how to make this really stick out, but we could just add, if you don't have, if you just have text, if you're gonna do it like the way I do in my templates, you could just throw a header around it. Don't worry, I have this automatically centering in the middle, so it doesn't matter what you write, it will always appear there. And if you need to change the color of this, you're going to be doing something called span style. And then this is where you would put in your hex code. If you want to learn a little bit more about the span tag, I also have that up on my blog. And I tell you everything about how to use the span tag. And so you can do that later when you have the time. For right now, I am just going to say, do you know what? I want my header to be this dark purple. Let's go back in here. Ta-da! There you go. Fantastic. All right. I've already gotten you the menu. I know this seems super fast, but I didn't want you to have to code this all on your own. That's my job. I'm a certified ConvertKit expert and a web designer, so I can make all of the coding changes you need and build you templates from scratch. All right, one thing that we're going to do now is focus on your footer. If you notice, I have some weird bullet points for social media. I'm going to walk you through how to create social media icons on your bottom. Now, if you want Facebook social media icons, ConvertKit does have in their FAQ some code you can copy and paste, put on your bottom. However, if you just want to have it be text-based, this is how you're going to make that happen. So let's scroll up to social media. I said that we have a social div. This is what's explaining what the backgrounds will be. I'm saying this is what the font family will be. I'm choosing to say that it's going to be Open Sans, which is our header font instead of our body font. And I have a little bit of padding around it. That way it sticks out as its own area down here. Now I'm going to show you real quick. We're just going to save this. Now there's different ways. So these are some, I keep my clients' templates around for a few days. I want to show you that you can, I'm not going to do this for you, but if you want, you can add images in here too. If you have icons on your website and you can have them as images, you can add them in as well. I'll show you real quick. We use exactly the same thing, a lead class, a link, everything that you're seeing in the template I gave you. But instead of having text saying Facebook, we have the link to the image. So that's the only difference, is that we're going to have text in our template. You can definitely add images if you want to. Now let me go back up to, and get back out of here. I'm going to go back into our code along template. So I just wanted to clarify that for some of you thinking, oh, but you know, what if I want icons? You can definitely have icons. You can do this in the email that I am showing you in right here. Like I said, instead of having the text, you would remove the word Pinterest and you would put in the image URL of your Pinterest icon. That's how that's going to work. Now, if you see in this preview, this is looking a little bit funky. So I'm going to show you how to fix that up. Scroll back up. And instead of making you rewrite this, I'm going to go ahead and grab the code in my template. And I'll go ahead and update the code on the page. And also this recording is going in the complete guide to ConvertKit. That code will all be there as well. So let me go here and let me throw this in here for you guys. We're going to go down to social media because we need to fix the social media area. Ta-da! Now, if you hit preview layout, now they're all evenly spaced, just like your menu. And you can just swap out the links for your links, or if you want to swap out the text, you can do that too. We'll scroll down here. So you just need to change this to your Facebook URL or your Twitter URL or whatever it is you need. If you have other things than Pinterest or Instagram, or if you want to add a YouTube channel, you can definitely do that. If you want to just add another one, just like we did earlier in the menu, copy, paste, swap it out, put in your links, and you're done. Now, the bottom is already set for you. I've already added some padding. What I want you to do is just swap this out, put your name or your company name here, put your city, state here. You must always have an unsubscribe link in your emails. So keep this here. This is ConvertKit code. I'll automatically add in that unsubscribe link right there. The last thing I'm going to show you before you save out of this and go into an actual email to see what the template looks like, I want to show you about buttons. So one of the disappointing things in ConvertKit for me is that even though they're really strong about plain text emails, they do have some templates that you can choose from that are a little bit more styled, but none of them provide buttons. And I really like having buttons in my email. So if we scroll back up, we have how to make a button. I've already added the button code in here. The only thing you need to do that's left is to choose the background color. Now, if you want to change anything about the button, how wide it is, you could go 80, 40. Right now I have 90. I want to have a full screen button, make it stick out. I'm going to have the text be white. I also like a little bit of letter spacing, and I'll show you what that looks like shortly. But first, let's pick a color for our buttons. So the background color is the one thing left that you need to add in here. Let's go ahead and hit save. All right, now that that template is saved, I want you to go into your broadcast and why don't you go ahead and copy an email that you've already sent. So just say duplicate. And then edit the broadcast. That way you can see what it would look like for you. And then you're going to want to make sure you pick the template, whatever you named it. And then this way you can see what your headers will look like, what a link will look like, all of that jazz. Oh, nope, actually I want to see. Browse. Okay, so this is what one of my emails would look like. I have my title here. These are all of my menu links. This is bold text. This is join the webinar. These are all of my link colors. Now let's talk about adding a button. Now, if you noticed, I had buttons set to a certain style. I believe it was H4. Let's find out. Maybe it was H3. Oh, nope, I bet it was div class button. Hold on. Let me run back to templates and see what style I added the buttons to. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh, I did dot button. Let me make this change for you. See where it says button right here? That's a huge pain in the butt because you'd have to write code to do that. Instead, honestly, how many of you are ever going to use the 5th heading? So now I'm going to say H5, all of heading 5 should look like the button. Let's go ahead and hit save. Let's go back here, change this to 5, and see some magic. There we go. So all you have to do if you want a button now is to just highlight what you want to have the button style and change it to that paragraph tag. Awesome. Now, I don't really dig that pink color. So why don't we have buttons be this? Let's go back down to H5. Let's change, well, first off, why don't we go ahead and make this a bit smaller? Let's just have it be 70% of the screen. And here's another trick. I want you to write H5A. Now I'm saying any link inside H5, copy this. I want to make sure it has the color white. I don't want it to carry over what my default link color is. I want a specific color for this. So let me just hit save. Maybe I'll like it better this way. Let's go over here. Let's go into browser. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm still not sure about that color, but let's go ahead and do that. And one thing you're going to want to do is and then this becomes a link. Now you can change in these colors, and like I said, you can also change the width however much you want. Yeah, I just can't dig that color, guys. We're gonna have to change it. So let's swap out that color. And let's add a let's have text align center. I just want to see if I can get this looking more spiffy. There we go. Now it's going to actually be in the center. So you can go ahead and change that width. Like I said, I like to have these larger sections. If you want to change the font size, you can do that as well. So you can go back down to H5. Oh, wait. Looks like I might have already created a button on H4 in here. Interesting. I thought I left something for you guys. Oh, maybe not. Nope, just regular text. Oh, that's because I'm in the wrong template. Sorry about that. I'm in my own email template. And I was like, oh, there we go. That's weird. ConvertKit. I clearly clicked this. Okay, thank you. Let's go back down to H5. I forgot. There we go. And if you guys want to copy this, we'll also throw that in the chat as well. So it's easy for you to just copy and paste it. And I'm glad you love the button feature. I think it's a lot easier to just highlight something, make it H5, and then it's done. Let me go ahead and save. And honestly, in email templates, you will spend most of your time working on finalizing the last bits. Oh, it made H5 be around it. That's silly. That is H5. There we go. If you do highlight an empty space and do H5, it will turn it into this. Now, I've also used this as a banner as well. So if you don't add a link to it, it's pretty easy. You can just make this become a banner. So you could also use this as a section divider. So this is super basic, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted you to have a starter template that you could swap out colors and play around with a bit. So I'm going to wrap up the coding part of this, but I want to show you some of the templates I have to just show you, some of the cool things that you can do with ConvertKit templates. So let me a quick run in here. You guys all saw the brand new template I did because I have a new logo. All of this is text-based. This isn't an image. That's actually all typed out. And that's one of the great things that you can use. I'm going to show you how to do it. And this is that menu bar right there. This is not a link. I used it more as a drawing up a header, but you can use it however you want. And then I used this as the button down here. If you notice, these have two different fonts. You can add styles to as many headings as you want. I have headings on H5 and H4. So if you want to have different colored buttons that you can pick from, just copy and paste the code and change from H5 to H4. And it's super easy to do this. In my previous email, I talked a little bit about, in my previous code along, I talked about these callout sections. So if you want to learn more about that, you can do that for the previous webinar, and I'll also grab you some code so that you don't have to start completely from scratch. And like I showed, Terry is a good example, Olivia. You can also have animated templates as well. So remember how I said you can add images. Sorry, scrolling. Okay. In the div class top, like I told you, you could throw an image in there instead of having text. You can also have GIFs in your header. So if you want to have a header that talks about like a product or really draws attention, it's pretty easy to create a GIF. I also have instructions on my blog how to create a GIF for your newsletter. You don't have to keep this. This could actually be your name. It's pretty easy to do this. I made this in Canva, and then there's just a free animator tool online that will take a series of images and turn it into animation. So it's pretty easy to make this. You can also have this in your header. And I normally almost in all of my email designs keep a shell. I just think it's really nice to have that definition of where the email is. And if you want to get a peek at some of the other email designs for a little bit of inspiration, you can always go to my portfolio. And some of my favorite, most recent email designs, you guys saw this, are in here. So if you want to think about how you want to use these. You can always have a look here. And now, for those of you that are still watching, if for some reason you want something a little bit more advanced, you can always hire me and I can make a custom ConvertKit template. Or if you're gonna say, Sarah, I really like what you have. I just wanna learn how to swap out colors. I have 4 basic templates, and my gold template is the most popular. You guys really like that gold color. It already has the button using H3. It's a cute outline button. It already has these section areas. You just need to swap out the code. And when you purchase them, it also comes with instructions on how to customize it, like how you swap out the code and everything like that. So you can always go there. Or if you haven't already, the Complete Guide to ConvertKit has my previous webinar and everything that you need to know about migrations, automation and sequences, and this has the coding ConvertKit templates. But if that's not your jam, if you're like, I know the rest of ConvertKit, I just want to be able to watch that other webinar, I have Learn to Code ConvertKit templates, and it's just $49. This recording will also go in here as well. And you can learn how to create these emails that I've created in the past. So that is it for now. If you guys don't have any other questions, then I hope you guys have a great rest of your morning. This will be up for just 1 more hour, and then I will send out an email recapping what went on and letting people know where they can find this recording. Thanks so much. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys in another webinar. You can always send me an email at sarah@sarahagers.com and let me know if there's anything else about ConvertKit or web design hacks that you'd like to just join me in showcasing how to do or learning how to do it. I'll always start you out with code. I don't expect you to start off from scratch. So you can always send me those ideas and I'll put together these short how-to webinars. All right, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.